everyone. It's KB with Pile Driver Wrestling Podcast. Hey, I'm glad you're joining me today here on Old School Friday. You know my motto, the old school paved the way for the new school, and we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about a future Hall of Famer. As a matter of fact, he's already been a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a two-time Hall of Famer, which not many wrestlers have done, so we're going to get into it. But before we do, make sure you click, like, and subscribe these videos. Turn on those notification bells. That way you never miss anything. And hey, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments. So put something in the chat, about this individual's matches or memories that you can remember here on the Old School Friday podcast. But I want to get into, kind of get into who we're talking about today. And that's none other than Triple H. The Game! Triple H! So if you don't know anything about Triple H, man, go back and watch a lot of his videos. Paul Levesque, who he's known by now. He used to be known as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. We'll kind of get into that a little bit. But, we're going to kind of really talk about his really in-ring performance, man. Triple H was known as the Rebel Assassin, man. He carried around that sledgehammer. He was just a phenomenal wrestler, and just overall great in-ring performer, as all these guys are that we talk about every week here on the podcast. But I really want to talk about his entrances. Man, if you know Triple H, man, especially at this time, we're getting ready to go into WrestleMania. Man, Triple H had the coolest entrances. The game would come in, it's time to play the game, and he would have some kind of cool interest, whether it be riding on the motorcycle or just coming in, on different things. I think wrestlers need to get back to that. I absolutely love the, stuff that they do. Only certain wrestlers do that. But, man, I if you remember years ago, Triple H come riding in on his bike, with Stephanie on the back. That was a really cool moment, his wife, Stephanie McMahon, so that to me really, it's kind of like a build up, right? It's a story within a story, and man, nobody had cooler entrances than Triple H, so shout out to him. But we're going to kind of go over Triple H, in my opinion, Triple H's top 5 matches that he's ever had. Now you can put in the comments which 5 you think, because Triple H had a lot of great matches. But here are my top 5. I've got Triple H versus The Rock in the Iron Man match. This was a Judgment Day back in 2000. It was a great match between him and The Rock. Sitting at number 4, I've got Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam in 2002. That was an incredible match, man. Again, I just want to encourage you, go back and watch some of these matches. I think sometimes we watch a match and then we're ready to see another match. But I think if we could go back and watch some of these matches, it'll really show us, who these guys really were and how incredible those matches. Because, again, you're talking about a two-time Hall of Famer, in Triple H. Man, he just did some incredible things. And so I think we need to go back and watch some of his videos. Number 3 is Triple H versus Cactus Jack. Yeah, that's right. If you knew, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, he was just a great character in himself, but that was the Royal Rumble street fight, and that was in the 2000s. So that was number 3. That was a great match. In that as well, because if you knew Cactus Jack, he was quite a character. Bang, bang, so that was funny. And the second one I got is number 2 is Triple H versus The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell, and that was at WrestleMania 28. So that was an incredible match. Shawn Michaels was the referee. Shawn told him he couldn't beat him. It looked like they were going to beat him, and it didn't happen. Undertaker prevailed, but nonetheless, that was an incredible match. And so go back and watch that. And my number 1 is Triple H versus Stone Cold at No Way Out in 2001. Again, you got to think about the list here with Triple H. No wonder he's inducted to the Hall of Fame, because he's wrestled so many incredible people. He's The Rock, Shawn Michaels, Cactus Jack, Undertaker, Stone Cold. Man, those right there, those are Hall of Famers in themselves. So He started on scene in 1992. You know, he used to wrestle in WCW, but his name was Terror Rising. Get it? Terror Rising. And that was 1992. And then, of course, he comes to WWF and he becomes Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And, you know, he was talking about, I saw an interview the other day, he was talking about, you know, the different gimmicks and things that he had to do. And, you know, they told him because his name's Paul Levesque, and they were like, go out there and speak French. So then he said, I don't know French. And they were like, well, just go out there and do it. And he had to kind of do a French accent and stuff. So the things you have to do in wrestling before you get a big name, right? He was part of DX. That's what he was inducted into the Hall of Fame for, the DX group. But he also had Evolution. If you remember Evolution, I think that was Batista, him, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair, if I'm not mistaken. Was part of Evolution. But again, him and Shawn were very good things. And the cool part about it now is you see him and Shawn as good of friends as they are. Shawn's in NXT, you know, has the hands on at NXT, and then Triple H has, you know, got WWE, you know, and so that's really neat. But if you know anything about them, they also formed the Authority. That was with, him and Stephanie. He was known as his COO, the Chief Operating Officer. He was Executive Vice President of Talent, and then so now he's the head of creative, you know, with the new company. But here's some of his accomplishments before we get out of here. And I want to encourage you to look some of this stuff up because there was a big list. I just chose just a few, but Wrestler of the Decade in 2010. He was Feud of the Year in 2000, 2004, 2005, 2013. Match of the Year in 2004 and 2012. So again, he's a two-time Hall of Famer, or fixing to be, because they're going to induct him to, you know, the Hall of Fame. So I just want to give a shout out to Triple H, man. Thank you for all the great things that you've accomplished in wrestling. You're doing so good at storytelling and creative, man. You are definitely running this company well, and we enjoy watching wrestling. And you've done an incredible job. So kudos to you. Congratulations on being, two-time Hall of Fame, which is only a few have accomplished, but you've managed to do that. So shout out to you, Triple H. And that's all we got on Old School Friday. We hope that you tune in next week as we talk about another one. Hey, do me a favor too. Drop in the comments maybe somebody you want to hear about in the Old School Friday. We'd love to talk about the person that you may mention in the comments. So we'd love to hear from you. But that's all I got on this Old School Friday podcast here on the PDR podcast. Join us next Friday on another edition of Old School Wrestling. We'll see you next time.